Hi, and welcome back to Tony's Cool Tools. If it's your first time, thanks for stopping. I really appreciate it. There has been a lot of interest in kindling. The kind that you use in your fire pit outside, your fireplace inside, and now the small wood, the small pieces of wood to go in on these deck-type fire pits. So everyone's looking for different types of kindling. Now, many of you woodhounds know Dan from Back 40. He started a second business selling mini firewood, and that's for his tabletop fire pits. And he sells wood in different species like cherry, oak, or hickory, and he sells it in 4 or 6, I think his are 6 inches, but 4, 6, or 8-inch blocks like this. So naturally, that opens a whole new line of business or opportunities for us, because not many people are selling this type of wood. So regardless of whether you're making the mini blocks of wood or the standard kindling at 16 inches, it's super time consuming and really not profitable. So you gotta find a way to make it quicker. I've made a couple of videos on processing kindling. And basically when I first started, it was a super simple process by using just this kukri and a splitting maul or a splitting little piece of wood here, and that was it. Or I would use the Fiskars X11 splitting wedge here, or splitting axe. There's only 2 problems with both of these. They're time consuming and it's super dangerous. So next I found the kindling cracker and thought I died and went to heaven, because all I needed to do is put it on the wedge here, give it a couple of whacks, and I got my kindling. It was safer, but it was extremely time consuming as well. So after the first 2 methods, I figured I wanted something more automated, and I switched to my splitter here, whether it was the split fire or my axis, and I started splitting this kindling here, and that worked out pretty doggone good, but it was primarily 1 piece at a time as well. Faster than the other 2 ways, but it was still time consuming. Last year I attended one of the logging shows, and I came across a machine I thought was way cool at processing kindling. Now, Dave Kravacek is the president of Kindling King. They're a North American company based out of Canada, and they've been around since 1978 making firewood processors, so they know a thing or two about firewood. And they are introducing the new Kindling King, or the new Kindling King processing machine. He was demonstrating it as well as several of the other machines that they released in 2024. And I thought it would be worthwhile showing you this machine. As you can see, the Kindling King mini splitter is a very simple but well thought out design. It's basically a scaled down box wedge. As you can see, there is no engine on this splitter here. The power is supplied by either your tractor or your skid steer auxiliary hydraulics. And if you don't have that, there is a power pack that you could purchase that has the hydraulics necessary to operate this. The Kindling King has a small footprint. It's only 32 inches by 72 inches, but it's a beast. It weighs in at 450 pounds. It has a fast cycle time at 3 seconds, and it has 2,100 pounds of splitting force. There are 3 different models of the Kindling King. This one here is the 16-inch. It also comes in a 14-inch and a 12-inch. And the cradle here, where you put the log in, has a maximum of 8 inches. So if you have a log like this, you just set it in there and you're ready to go. The Kindling King comes with 3 options on wedges. The 1x1, which is excellent for kindling. The second one is 2x2. That's fantastic for the pizza wood, or if you're doing any maple syrup production, you get those 2x2 blanks that you put in and they burn very quickly. The third option are the tabletop fire pits that are so popular now. And lastly is if you're doing resplitting, the 3x3. So it's 1x1, 2x2, and 3x3. When you have to change the wedges out, it's super simple. There's 8 bolts, 4 on each side. Let me give you a tip here. When you remove one of these, take a 3/8 dowel and stick it in there. The reason for that is I learned when you have to work alone, these things are awfully heavy and trying to get them to line up is terrible. So if you go ahead and put a dowel in here on either side, then you can lift it up or bring it back down a little and align all the holes when you need to remove all the bolts. Once I found that little tip out, I could probably change this out between 4 and 5 minutes. To move the splitter around, it uses a wheelbarrow type design, which is you just lift it up and start moving it. However, if you want to move it long distances, there is a hitch available for it to move around your yard. It is not roadworthy though. Now the Kindling King is fantastic at making kindling, but it's also great at doing resplits. So if you have a processor with larger pieces of wood, this is a machine that you could really use and it'll save you time. So now that I've told you a little bit about the Kindling King, let me show you how it works. Oh, and by the way, this machine here is for sale. I'll have details at the end for you. So I was pleasantly surprised to find out that the hoses on the splitter here were long enough for me to hook them to my tractor, which is on the outside. The temperatures out there are in the low teens, so it's nice to stay in a warm pole barn here. I put some pool noodles at the bottom to keep the drafts from coming in, so I'm going to be cutting here or splitting here comfortably. The other thing I wanted to mention is the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. And what I mean by that is, when you're using a box wedge, the best wood that you can get is straight grain wood, whether that's softwood or hardwood, as long as it's straight grain. Let's see how this does now. Splits it pretty decently. One last piece here. Not too shabby. Here's a little bird's eye view of the splitter.
I can lower the green pushback plate so I don't have to handle the splits by hand like you see here.
Here are the type of splits you're getting on the 1x1. Now I changed the wedge out to a 2x2 and let me show you how that looks. Also, by the way, I'm running the tractor at about 2,000 RPM, just under PTO speed. As you can see, you can make a lot of 2x2 very quickly here. for the longer lengths of 2x2, we're going to use some oak here. So as you can see, it makes short work of it. So the last wedge I wanted to cover and explain to you is the 3x3 wedge, or basically the resplitting wedge. It's nothing more than a 4-way wedge, just like you find on many splitters. However, with this one now, this push plate or the return plate has to be removed, and then it acts like a standard splitter. And this is great if you have the processor, as I mentioned, and you want to do this, make smaller wood out of the bigger pieces. So let me show you how this one works. So many times when you're using a processor or even a log splitter with a single wedge, these are the type of splits that you get. And you got to make them smaller for your customers. So on the 3-way here, all we do is position it here. As you can see, with a single knob here, or a single rod, it goes super easy. And by the way, you can work on either side of this because there's no log lift. So if you're lefty or righty, this is ambidextrous. So I think I've shown you that the Kindling King by Cord King is a very multifunctional tool and extremely versatile. It'll do many different tasks for you. And as I mentioned, this unit here is available for sale. All you have to do is call Dave Kravacek at Cord King. I'll have the information in the info section below. Also, check out the new releases that they have, like their new repeater splitter and their bagging station that they have, and it's all new for 2025. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up as well. And remember, pass it forward. Make the world a better place. And don't be a tool. Watch Tony's Cool Tools. Until I see you next time, have a great day.